Hey guys, Dr. Brad Bodle here. Now, if you have Hashimoto's and you have a goal of losing weight, sometimes that progress can feel glacially slow, if not impossible. And sometimes it can feel like we're putting in a ton of effort and doing everything right, but when we actually check, it ends up that we only lost 1 pound in the previous week. Bummer, right? Well, maybe not. And in today's video, I want to talk about why losing 1 pound in a week can be a good thing and hopefully provide some overall perspective and encouragement. That way you can know you're on the right path and have the success that you deserve. And as always, if you've been enjoying the content, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Now, back to that only losing 1 pound in a week thing. Yes, it might not sound like a lot, but I'd really encourage you to reconsider. I think so often we've been trained to think about weight loss like the magazines at the grocery store or late night TV commercials. These are the ones that have those attention grabbing headlines like lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. And because this is a message that is repeated so often, it can feel as though if we're not achieving results like that, anything less is a failure. But you know what else those commercials and magazines have in common besides the catchy headlines and the big time claims? It's the disclaimer that they include, usually in a small print at the bottom of the screen. And what does that disclaimer say? It says results are not typical, and we need to take that to heart. Now, do you think that these magazines are specifically talking to people with Hashimoto's? No, of course not. They're just talking to the general public. And if the disclaimer is results are not typical, and that's for people without a thyroid condition, then we need to understand that weight loss really isn't easy. And as we've said before, when we also have Hashimoto's, something that negatively impacts our metabolism and ability to process calories, that whole weight loss process is going to become that much more challenging. So ignore the publications and ignore social media. Because when we're being bombarded by these things all the time, that starts to become our expectation. And when our expectations are overly inflated, then it can mean we miss the small successes that we're having, and it might actually encourage us to change what we're doing, even though we could be on the right track. But even if those results were typical, which they're not, and even if they were considering someone who has Hashimoto's, which they don't, I would argue that those types of outcomes still aren't desirable. Now, I know that might sound strange, but hang with me here. As I like to point out, our brain is pretty incredible, and it spends a lot of its time monitoring the physiology in our body. One aspect of that is our metabolic set point, which is essentially how much energy our body needs to maintain our cells and maintain homeostasis. But let's say we've decided to make some changes, and instead of our body staying nice and neutral, we've now started to lose some weight. Well, no problem, your brain will adjust to that, but that process of adjusting, well, we don't know exactly how long it takes for our brain to adapt. Some research papers theorize that it could be up to 6 months. Why is this important to us? Well, if we lose weight very quickly, then it's going to put our body mass out of sync with what our brain expects our body to look like. This sort of discrepancy can be very stressful, and the brain is going to fear that something bad has happened to our health and we are potentially starving, which is something that we are generally trying to avoid. But no matter what's causing the weight loss, our brain is going to hit that alarm button and it's going to try to engage every system possible to get that weight back. Again, starving is a no-no because it leads to some bad consequences. So in an act of preservation, our brain is going to do its best to resist that. This might mean sacrificing certain metabolically expensive parts of our health. Things like our immune system could become less effective, which could make us more prone to infections and have slower healing times. Due to these different modifications, we could also see a decrease in our daily energy expenditure. This could make us feel more tired and sluggish, but overall, because we're burning less calories, When we start to increase what we're eating and eat more normally again, it's very likely that we can gain that initial weight loss back and then gain even more. And finally, in an effort to encourage us to eat more so we can avoid those negative consequences that comes from losing too much weight, we're going to see an increase in hunger cues and an upregulation in our general desire for high calorie food items. This can affect our appetite for years to come and change the way that we perceive satiety when we're eating a meal. So, what's the alternative to all of this? It's losing weight more slowly. And even though that might sound frustrating, this is where our 1 pound per week can actually be a great thing for us. As we said, people with Hashimoto's, their metabolism isn't functioning at their best. And so, even though 1 pound might sound small, progress in these situations is still progress. And that's encouraging and should be exciting. But at the same time, when our body changes more slowly, it gives our brain that chance to adapt. And because there's less stress put on the system, instead of our brain panicking and trying to pull out all the stops to prevent starvation, it will simply gradually modify that metabolic set point to match the new weight that you've lost. And eventually, when you start to get closer to your weight loss goals, it'll be much easier for you to maintain that loss. But if you're still not convinced, think of it this way. Sure, 1 pound a week might not sound like much, but that's 4 pounds in a month. Again, maybe you're still thinking that that seems slow, but at that same rate, eventually it turns into about 52 pounds in a year. Now we might have a number that's a little bit more convincing to you. 52 pounds is something that could be life-changing for a ton of people. Some don't have that much weight to lose, and if you're trying to lose more weight than that, 52 is a great place to begin. So even if the progress isn't exactly what you envisioned in the beginning, progress, no matter how small it is still progress. And it's a sign of healing. And that's something that can be a struggle to find for a lot of people with Hashimoto's. So remember, when it comes to losing weight with Hashimoto's, it's not about deprivation, doing crazy gym workouts, or following some 7-day cleanse. Instead, it's about focusing on healing and trying to support the areas of your body that need support. The more we can improve our immune system function, manage inflammation, and take that pressure off of our thyroid, the better our metabolism will work, and that will result in better outcomes when it comes to weight loss. So do the things that help you to feel and function your best, and the weight loss will follow. Even though the response can be slow and sometimes extremely frustrating, my biggest piece of advice would be to give yourself a chance and keep going. Now, I know this video didn't cover a lot of actual strategies when it comes to weight loss, but sometimes having the right attitude and the right kind of expectations can make all the difference. But if you want to learn more about different action steps and changes you can make, then check out my playlist on thyroid and weight loss. And of course, if you have any questions, just drop them for me down below, and I'll do my best to get back to them. If you liked this video and found the perspective helpful, but you need more support and you're interested in working with me, then I'd recommend sending an email to contact@seattlethyroidhelp.com and asking about my online course, Natural Hashimoto's Transformation. In the course, I help women with Hashimoto's who aren't getting any support from their doctors, want to make changes but are overwhelmed by trying to do things on their own, go from feeling exhausted, tired, and frustrated to understanding their Hashimoto's better than they ever have before, and also walk away with a clear action plan that allows them to make real changes and see actual improvements in their health. The course includes information on nutrition, supplements, labs, lifestyle, hormones, gut health, exercise, and more. And not only will you understand the best strategies that I've used with patients for almost 10 years, but there's also weekly support calls and a Facebook group. That way I can help answer any questions that you might have and support you every step of the way. So if that's something that interests you, make sure that you reach out so you and I can hop on a call together and see if the course is a good fit. If you're not interested in the course at this time, then there are other things that you can still do to keep learning. You can check out some of the other videos right here on my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook for daily tips, strategies, and information. Or you can grab either one of my free downloads, which are linked in the description box below. But that's all we have time for today. I love you guys. Keep taking care of yourselves. And I wanted you to know that I'm proud of you for all of the challenges you faced and all of the challenges that you will overcome. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, don't forget to do so. But my name is Dr. Bodle. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one.